Hey, going live. Another exciting day at the forge. So we're just gonna probably work and finish off Carol's little hatchet here. It's a little throwing axe. It needs to be tweaked. The blade has got a little bit of a funky wonk to it. I'm gonna straighten it out and then true up the opening here a bit. And then it'll be ready to just do cleanup on. So this started life basically as a railway spike, or like some like to call them deck spikes. They're very similar to each other. So depending on guess where you are and what your background is. So, but yeah, that's how this started, and that's how it ends up. So now this is still going to end up with I'm going to do a little bit of tempering on it, of course, trying to get that edge to be a little harder, but for all intents and purposes, it'll still be a pretty soft edge. What I could do is I could use a hardened steel and basically forge weld it on to give it a more true, a harder edge that'll hold an edge longer, etc. But for these little guys, a little exercise and just playing around, they're great. So, and then the other thing I might do today is I might do up some S-hooks using this. Those are always pretty popular. So the other thing we'll probably end up doing, we've got a pretty large billet of creating a billet here. It's got some bandsaw blade and some files in it. I'm going to continue working on that and finish welding it up, chop it, cut it, make it into, don't know, it'll probably end up being 2 billets and turn it into maybe a couple of knives, or I might leave it as a solid billet and turn it into an axe head. I don't know yet, so debating that. So these are all just exercises just to, like I said, getting myself back into shape. So, but anyway, without too much further ado, I guess it's time to get things working here. Can't wait till my hair is back to the right length. Driving me crazy. All right. Check our devices. Turn the gas on. So normally I like to have some drums or something music playing in the background. Unfortunately, when I'm shooting video, either YouTube or on Facebook, they get all grumpy about licensing issues and stuff. And I can imagine. I even had the radio on in the background one day. I didn't even think about it, right? It was just playing in the background, and then bang, all of a sudden my video got shut down. It was like until they, I think with Facebook, I think they have the ability to kill the background music, which is fine. And with YouTube, they shut you down completely, that you do not have the right to X music. And it's like, excuse me, it was just a radio. For crying out loud. How anal can you get? And anyway, I am doing some my own recording some of my own drumming and stuff. So hopefully they won't get all pissy about that. I think this little bottle's starting to... Oh, there we go. Let there be fire. It's kind of my favorite part of the day. I love the fire part. I had to get more of this already. Well, like I said, I can try to shoot live video a couple of times a week. Just for fun. Messing around. Everything I shoot, basically, I'm going to try to leave on my Patreon account for patrons. I mean, I'll shoot live, but then basically what will happen is I'll end up having to move that over out of YouTube. Oh, I love that. Oh, I love that feel. Oh, so good in the shoulder. I'm a sick puppy, I like fire. Drums and fire. Hello. Just saying hi to my girl. Hi. I guess that's a Carol sighting, so anybody who's got the Bingo card, that was a Carol sighting. It counts.
I don't think that quite counts, because I'm not actually in the
Air. What's that?
I think that actually quite counts, because I'm not actually down there. Well, I suppose if I talk loud enough, it might.
So a billet this size, usually it takes about 15 minutes for me to bring it up to a temperature where it'll weld. That's a lot of metal, as you can see. I might get ambitious and try to turn it all into one thing, but I really should chop it up into separate pieces and make a number of little things. Especially just starting out, my arms are not where they should be. This arm will probably never be where it should be. I had the mighty oak fall on it. Maybe one day I'll drink beer and tell you the story. I'm gonna ride upstairs and get a bourbon. I'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. Okay, back time. Back channel. everybody is staying safe and practicing their social distancing. So next week I'm going to be making more tongs. I need to make a nice big set of heavy grabbing tongs that'll do the job. That'll make up for my very poor grip. For those that are wondering, yeah, I've got nerve damage all the way through this arm, all the way down through my elbow, and down through this part of the arm. So it makes it. What happens is when I'm gripping, I can have a really good grip to start with, but then it just starts to let go, which is really hard when I'm trying to play with the hammer or the tongs. The hammer, with each blow, my grip gets less and less, so it makes it hard. And yeah, one day I would love to have a power hammer, but I think that's out there somewhere. Maybe by the time I'm 80. But right now, just getting a few more sets of tongs. I mean, I whipped these up really quick. They're decent little light tongs, but when I'm using a heavier billet or when I'm working with it, it's hard to hold, especially with this arm. The damage I've got in here is right from this shoulder and down into the back, into the arm. So I've got pretty much numb and burning hands 90% of the time. It's the same with the bottoms of my feet. Okay, that's warm enough. I should be able to do the twisting I want. So let's get it over here into the vise. Borax. And that's what I use to basically as an anti-flux when I'm doing my Damascus. Or anything else I want to keep the flux on. Alright, let's see if I can. Shoot him up a little bit. Oh yeah, that's perfect. Okay, now we need to fix that round a bit. Very windy here today. Got a little bit of overcast. Wind is not playing too much havoc yet. What I'm going to do is just going to, that eye that's on the back there, I'm just going to get that, chew it up. Is a nice, good, long leg vise, but they're hard to get hold of. Everybody figures they're a blacksmith or a knife maker. If they see one, they'll spend like the $500 it is, or whatever they're paying for them now. I remember the day when I used to buy those for the like 5 cents a pound. Scrap yards. Nobody wanted them. Those were the days. It's like the anvils. Have to chain this guy down when I'm not here. Alright, I'm going to switch hammers. So I'm still playing with the live feed thing. Right now playing on Facebook is fun. Nice. Alright, here we go. Let this cool just a bit, a little too orange. I'm going to be anal and do that one more time. It looks pretty good, but I'm going to fix this thing so it's not running around and so fucking bad. Hey Nick, how you doing? Just finishing up a little throwing axe project for Carol. Just as an exercise right now. It started life as one of these. Just really, really quick. Again, it's just trying to get back into the swing of things before I start getting into anything crazy. I have started putting up some billets. Nick, why aren't you in the forge? Ah, way better. Hey, that one's done. And now back to squash made flat. Throttle up. Put that in. Put that guy away. Squash made flat hammer. So I've replaced my handy dandy plastic barrel. Hot metal and plastic do not get along. I'm gonna get a wood barrel, half barrel here pretty quick. Put it on wheels so I can wheel it around. Alright, let's close this guy up. No, I brought it back around and, Nick, I brought it back around and welded it. Just by basically hammer welding it so it came together. Just using the, where's that spike? So basically, once I had the head made on this end, took this end, squished it around, wrapped it up so it was about an inch. Smash, make flat. So it basically didn't want to come apart anymore. So no, I didn't split it. I have tried splitting them. I just a little nervous about most of them. I think I've got a couple over here that aren't. Like I split these guys again, right? But because I was going to take these guys and wrap them around, I just don't trust the amount of metal. So instead, yeah, just a little hammer welding, fork welding. And I haven't, with these ones, I have not taken like a harder steel to put on the edges yet. Playing with the idea, but I haven't got around to that. Done it on others years ago. So this is going to be about 15 minutes before I get to the point where I can trust that it's hot all the way through, hot enough all the way through. Yes, Nick, every chance I get, I drift. I love drifting. I'm a drifter. I blame you for that. You make it look too damn easy. Just like your damn Damascus, you make it look too damn easy. Created a monster. Oh, right, you are a monster. Nick, how's your beard coming? I haven't seen a picture of you in a while. Last time I saw a picture of you, you were all cleaned up for that second appearance on Forge. Oh, that's a long way to go. I get impatient. I'm bad. While that's heating, I'll be right back. I'm just going to drag something out to you guys. Finished putting this guy together yet. Let's see if I can get into a spot where you can see it. Still working on this one. This is the next set of burners I'm doing. This is for the number 2 forge. So it's double burner, but you can see how simple the construction is. Right, so this is double Ventura, so it's 2 Ventura burners. These are 1.25 inches. Don't know why I go 1.25 inches. I could go 1 inch. Then my baffles are up in here. This basically controls my airflow. And then you can see just the little injectors I use inside. Right. These are just all air grade valves. Now, I don't tend to grind off the threads on the actual burner end. Some people do. I haven't had a need to. But anyway, this is going to go, I'm going to use a 35-pound decommissioned propane tank as my next forge project. Same kind of setup as the little 20-pounder here. We're getting there. Again, by color, I still can see it, so. Mix for the bourbon. And of course, it's not a mixed bourbon unless you have some bourbon.
7 minutes. I'm just going by gut feel right now, and I may have. So right now, what I'm seeing in the forge is that the end that's the furthest in and under the burner right now, it's really kind of become the same color as the rest of the forge. The end towards me, which is the end I want to work on at the moment, I'm going to try to get in as deep as I can. It's still a comparatively duller color. And I want it to be a little brighter before I bring it out. Now, the other thing I'm looking at too is I really wish I had the back side. If you're going to build your own forge, I'm just going to recommend this. Cut your back door right away. Put another ledge back there. Close it off with brick if you don't want the blow through. But when you're trying to work on longer pieces, you've got to have that back door. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it needed. All right, magic powder. Just so I don't go off prematurely, I'm going to take a walk. Come around the back, see who's here. Mr. Benbow. Twice a year. No. The billet I've got in there is a Damascus. In that I've got a couple of different grades of metal in there. Right now I'm just using old and recycled stuff. So I've got old file bits. I've got planer blades. Really old industrial bandsaw blades. So I just mix a hodgepodge together, take them, clean them up. So that's what this billet started off with. There's some file in there. There's some, I think there's some L6. A little bit of bandsaw. So who knows what it comes out as. All right, let's, I think my timer says that I probably should wait another second or minute or two, but my gut tells me that if I wait much longer, I may not have a billet left. So, magic powder time. Now, if I put that on the anvil, it would let out a gun crack, which I should normally I would do to. Now you saw all the flux, what the flux does, you saw all the scale bounce off, that's what you want to see. Flux is your enemy, scale is your enemy. Makes it really hard to weld. Something you got to grind off and clean off later. So I don't know if you saw the scale bouncing off, but that's what you want to see. Waving at William. Hey, William. Should be a timer on here. It tells me how long I've been live. So, Nick, this was the year I was really, really hoping that I was going to be able to come down and visit you guys, you and Kat. See what's happening. But this virus thing has really kind of messed everything up. Like I was saying, the hip surgery seems to have gone really well. Doing a tremendous amount of walking and hill climbing right now, like stair climbing and stuff. So my calves are really sore. And there's still a couple of things that feel kind of funky with the hip. Hopefully by September I'm supposed to be able to get back into fighting. So again, be patient. And there goes the bell. Oh, well, I guess we'll be drinking any of that water. That's just borax. Can't hurt. Actually, that tastes pretty damn good. But isn't that what we use to kill ants? That may not be a good idea. Inner shit in my stomach doing you that. Alright, let's get that somewhere where I'm not going to get borax on it. Better not be in my damn bourbon. Ugh. Alright, in deeper you go, my friend. Not hot enough. I want more in there. Woo! Armpit hair bird! You still listening, Alan? What? As I was saying, what the borax does, Alan, is it basically has a temperature. There's a chemical bond between it and the scale, the impurities that are coming out, and it makes it easier. It does. It allows that crack to easily get knocked off. And the more of it you get knocked off, the better. I'm going to draw this out fairly long. And the idea is that afterwards what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it again. And then I've got a couple other pieces of metal of steel that I want to put in there. So I'll make a bigger, like I'll draw it out, cut it, bring it back on, take the MIG welder to it so that it's all holding together. There'll be some more metal sandwiched in. Again, I'll squash, make that flat, draw it out, right? And I'll probably do that one more time after that. And then I'll either make a decision about making a long blade with it of some sort, maybe a heavy axe head with it, or I might cut it up into smaller billets and make it into a number of different knives. Excuse me. There we go. Nice. Hot metal. What? See, after all that talking, I don't know, Alan, if you're still there, or whether you can see the scale bouncing off. That's exactly what we wanted. It's getting a little cold. Okay. Back in she goes. Right now, what I'm probably going to end up doing, as far as my Damascus is concerned, is I'll probably continue to make billets. So I excuse me. Oh, yeah. either not enough borax or too much. Until I've got an inventory of Damascus billets I can use for doing other projects. Like I said in my, I don't know if anybody follows me on my Ironwood page, but one of the things I did say, both on my Facebook page and Ironwood, is the last Damascus I ever made was with a good friend named John Booth, who in a society known as Mishka, and so that was the last Damascus I ever made. And then about, I guess it's 11 years ago now, 11, 12 years maybe, was it 2008 I think? May 2008? Can't remember. Anyway, he was killed, and I just haven't made any since. I lost my heart, and I lost my, I couldn't do it. So it's only been in the last couple of years that I've had the real desire to get back in and playing with the forge. And I know John would probably be sitting here right behind my head right now going, "You fucker. What were you thinking?" So I was getting back into it when my hip got messed up. And that kind of stopped me for a while. So last summer I started a little quest to make just 100 blades. 100 blades were pretty simple. They were all mostly just made out of scrap metal, little bits file, old saw blade, anything I could find that was of decent enough steel that I could crank a blade out. And what I did is I gave every last one of those away. I didn't sell a single blade last year. All I did was I made them, gave them away as fast as I made them. So this year it's kind of a, once I get my, get the feel back for it, getting back to where I was. I mean, this is something that I've always had a real love for. I love that smell. Oh, that's such a nice smell. Oh, I love that squish sound. Oh, the squish sound is so nice. Nothing better than a squish sound. Scale everywhere. Richard! How's Mr. Green holding up? Haven't seen you in so long, my friend. Yes, Alan. Taking different grades of steel, different types, sandwiching them together, and some of it, I guess the best way to describe it is you want hard steels and you want steels that allow for flexibility, some yielding. If you have too much hard steel, there's always that opportunity that you hit the sword wrong, you hit blade wrong, it'll break and crack. The idea of Damascus was that it gave you the best of both worlds. The idea, of course, is when you're folding your steel together that whatever is the hardest steel you've got, you want eventually to be on the edges. Okay? So that's a general principle. So you can do just decorative Damascus, which is just folding and folding and folding and coming up with patterns and stuff. And all the metal that's in it is hard enough to hold an edge. One of the blades I've got upstairs, you can tell, if you look at it really closely under a magnifying glass, you can see all the different grades of metal right at the edge, right? What I'll probably end up doing with this, I don't know. It's like I have no clue because I'm just using these as billets right now. And again, it's an exercise getting me back into the swing of things, as it were. We're getting nice and sharp. Now, my bigger problem right now is I want to cut this for you guys so you can see me cut it up and get it ready to go for the next stage. The only problem is I just realized my Makita, which has got the big cutoff wheel on it, is way to hell and gone up by the 47 Plymouth in the shed up there, in the carport and the operations tool shed up there. Oh, I love squash made flat. Squash made flat is my favorite playtime. So my whole thing with this right now too is cutting these billets up. The idea is I want to be able to do these without getting to the point where it just sort of falls apart. Getting my weld solid so that when I cut this up, I can see that it's all one, homogeneous piece of metal, and not got cracks and failed welds in between. And I'll probably end up doing 3 or 4 of these before I feel confident enough to move on to the next stage. And the next stage, oh, yep, there it goes. You see that sparkle, sparkle. Sparkle, 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 sparkle. Should have seen my dog the other day. Ended up doing this. Put some borax on the anvil just so I can make Harold jump. That was such a mistake. My poor dog. She hates fireworks. Really doesn't like the sound of gunfire too much. Getting a bit of a twist on this now, so I'm going to have to correct it. Something right now so I don't end up fucking myself up. I don't know what Facebook says about F-bombs, but I just dropped 2 of them, so. I'm gonna cool my handle. The biggest problem is, too, with the nerve damage I've got in my arm, nerves in my hand don't register heat as quickly as they should. I have burned myself a couple of times without knowing it. Hey, Thorvald. Missing anybody? Oh. So I'm running, like I said earlier, I'm running this as propane. Running 0.065 to about a 1-inch Ventura burner. The tank is running at about 15 psi, which is about maximum. I think it's the maximum I can get on the regulator that's on there right now. I'm running off a 100-pound propane tank. And what I did is, when I got it refitted, I ended up getting the refiller that you would normally use for auto propane, automobile propane, truck propane, that kind of stuff, the stuff that you would normally use if you've got a gas-burning vehicle that's been converted over to propane. And what that allows is a quick fill. It also is cheaper in the long run. The valve that they put on it for filling is actually a little more expensive, but it actually pays for itself in like 2 fillings. And then after that, you're saving money all the time. And I would strongly recommend that if you're going to be using a portable tank, go with the 100-pounder and get the quick fill valve put on it that you would normally use for auto propane. You don't pay the same taxes that you use for barbecues. You know, the standard little one that they put on. It's a lot faster. And right now I've got the single 100-pounder. I've got 235 that I use as backup, which are standard fittings. Those are the ones I normally take when I go out to events and stuff, and I want to take the burner with me, the forge with me. But I'm actually going to get 2 more of the 100-pounders. Like I said, as you can see, there is absolutely no problem with a single burner. Like I've got this thing set up right now with the kiln brick and the insulation and that's in it. I've got no problem getting to welding temperature in this forge. Not a lot of sparks flying around when I do this, right? A lot of people sit there and think, oh my god, what am I going to do with the sparks in my carport? It's going to be horrible. No, just be smart. No, use common sense when you're doing your setup. Think about basically where your combustibles are at. Still need to thin it up back in here. It still needs to be thinner back in here. My cutoff point on this piece is about there. So everything from here on is billet. Okay, I'm going to do 2 more passes. Almost. And I don't want to get too thin. I do want to be thinner, so it's probably going to end up being about yay long when I'm done. But yeah, that's a lot of metal. The other thing I can do too, and again, this is an answer to kind of what Alan was talking about using the different metals. Because what I can do once I get this up a little to temperature again, right? Is I can throw it over. I can set up my vise here, set the end, and bring it in as bright and as hot as I can. Run it in there, and I can twist it, right? So I can twist the whole piece of steel, right, and then put her back in, and then hammer that again. And again, it's mixing the metals together, changing how the pattern will eventually look. And then later, once I have my billet out and I want to do something really funky with it, I can do all sorts of things. I take my hammer end here and I can put like patterning all the way. I can cut into the billet so I can get a ladder pattern. By doing the twist that I was talking about, I'll get a twist pattern into it. All sorts of funky shit. I can take a chisel head and I can chisel a pattern into it by twisting the chisel back and forth. The thing to remember is that when you've got steel at this temperature, it's a plastic. It's like plasticine. You can manipulate it and move it around just like a piece of clay. Alright? The only difference between this and clay, of course, is these are my tools for manipulating the clay. Right? Because I can't touch it with my hands to move it around. The The other thing to do too is when you're working your Damascus your steel, if you're looking for a particular pattern or a particular hardness to your edge, the best thing to do is to log in your head or log on paper if you want how many folds you have done, where your metal is as you're folding. Where is the hard metal as you're folding it over, right? You want to fold it in such a way that eventually the hardest metal is going to be at your edge. Not Corona. I'm still getting over that stupid, whatever it was we all caught back in February at investiture. And with my upper chest problems, I got to be careful about that. And in case anybody wonders what happened when I was very, very young, I was working at a pulp mill where the bleaching process to take craft pulp from that brown color over to, you know, that nice bright white that you can see in paper and everything, you use chlorine for it. And I got gassed, along with all the rest of us, there's a lot of us, right? We all got gassed all the time. And back in the day, back in the early 70s and that, they used to put you on oxygen for about 12 minutes. And then they sent you back to work. Anytime you got chlorine gas. So, you know, a big, thick green cloud, you'd be running in there, no respirator. Go to the first aid station, you couldn't breathe. You were drowning in chlorine. They put you on oxygen. Once you weren't coughing, they put you back to work. Well, I got scar tissue all the way through my upper chest. And I'm not the only one. The borax powder, again, it's just your average cleaning borax, right? There you go. There it goes. Beautiful. So you can see right now I'm just hammering down on the edge, drawing it down. Scale coming off of it. Beautiful. Getting back to some screw as much as I can. Ooh, hot piece of scale on my nose. Oh, I hope that's not what I think it is. Yeah, I think I cracked. Okay, it's through the dividing line. Oop. I think we're just about done for the day on this piece. So we got to cut up and clean. Because I haven't got my cut up areas and all that. And also, it's going to take 20-30 minutes for this piece just to cool off. So what I'm going to do here in a minute is I'm going to shut her down. And let that piece cool. Clean it up, cut it up, get it ready. So the next time I do a live with this particular piece, it'll be all chopped up into smaller billets. That's what I want to do with this guy. Shut it down. Leave that in there so it's not cooling too fast. I want a nice uniform cool down on it. And where's my screwdriver? Over there. And normally for shutdown, this is off. Because right now this is cool enough. I can put my hand on it, right? And that's because it's pulling air in. But now that it's off, all this heat is going to come back up through the burner. So just for safety's sake, I'm going to take my feed unit right off, and I'm going to go shut down my gas. So for today, I think that's it for live. I'm going to switch over. I'm going to get my grinder, going to let this cool off, cut it up. Got a whole bunch of cleanup to do on that axe head, and then I'm going to do some graving on it. I don't think I'm going to do any inlay. It's a little small, but I might. I don't know. We'll see. So anyway, as is traditional, cheers from Iron Wolf. You can never have enough bourbon, as far as I'm concerned. So till next time, guys. Any last questions? Hey, Darren. Just shutting down. There's Joel. Just going to give you a wave. Who else was on? Kelly. Hi, Kelly. Wayne. Excellent, Nick. There we go. Awesome, guys. Anyway, that's it for today. Take care, guys.